Thanks once again for dropping by the channel. If you like the content and if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, share the video if you enjoyed it, if you felt it was useful. Now let's get into this. So I fancy doing the audio today, just changing it up a bit. I want to put some pics and some videos of, pre-lockdown, where we could do things, just to kind of show how life was and hopefully how life will be, hopefully soon, when all this ends. But we want to talk about boxing. So, Tony Bellew. Now, Tony Bellew has been reasonably quiet the last couple of months, but he's come out here in, I think it was a Matchroom Talk. Eddie Hearn, I think, asked Tony Bellew the question about Andy Ruiz, or the question about Andy Ruiz, and Tony Bellew has stated he's pretty confident. I'm pretty confident I'd play with Ruiz, make an absolute fool of him. But would I be willing to risk it and put it on the line? Probably not. So that's what Tony Bellew says. And now, whenever I talk about Tony Bellew on this channel, even in his career review, I always say Tony Bellew achieved good things as a boxer, in his career. He was an overachiever, but he was one of those fighters who improved so much over the years. A drastically improved fighter by the time he finished, as opposed to when he started, because he was struggling with guys like Bob Ajasafi at domestic level, and then going to giving Alexander Usyk one of his toughest fights, at cruiserweight, one of the greatest cruiserweights of all time. You're giving him a tough fight for a couple of rounds. So Bellew was a fantastic fighter, but outside the ring, his personality, his biasness is something that I don't like. I've always said that I think he's a terrible commentator, and I always find it funny that the fighters he bigs up the most, your Anthony Joshua's, he's always commentating on those fights because they want someone. From a PR point of view, I can see why Sky do it, because Tony Bellew, if you're a casual fan watching an AJ fight, if you've someone like Tony Bellew who is, sucking a certain part of AJ, during the commentary, then, it rubs off on people. So from a PR point of view, I can get it. And that's happened over the years. You've seen plenty of commentators who've been like that. Bobby Ches springs to mind, with Mike Tyson in the 90s. Bobby Ches really, he was worse than Bellew ever was, for sucking up to Mike Tyson. I remember when, I didn't watch this live, but if you ever watched the Francois Bota fight where Bobby Ches commentated, I think it was the Showtime feed. Francois Bota isn't doing anything illegal. Mike Tyson's the one trying to break Francois Bota's arms, and Bobby Ches is ridiculing Bota, saying he's fighting unfair, he's doing this, he's doing that. Who was it? Was it Al Bernstein or whoever it was who was commentating with Bobby Ches, even had to pull Bobby Ches up and say, come on, Francois Bota's fighting a good fight here. So Bobby Ches was way worse than Bellew, to be fair, But it's similar kind of personality in terms of, when they're commentating on a fighter who they really like. They just, all objectivity goes out the window, and they just focus on what the good things the fighter does, and they just try and badmouth everything else the other people do. Like I've always spoken about when Chisora knocked out Takam, and Bellew was going, singing lyricals about how no one's ever done it to Carlos Takam before, not mentioning the fact that Povetkin had already done it years earlier. So as a commentator and all that, Bellew, he's not great. In terms of him saying he'd play with Ruiz, well, Bellew was never a heavyweight. He was a cruiserweight. David Haye, yes, he fought him twice a heavyweight. He fought a washed up, shot to pieces, injury prone David Haye. David Haye was really a cruiserweight. Bellew's never been in there with a fully fledged heavyweight. And with Andy Ruiz, I think Bellew would lose badly. But I think Andy Ruiz would have the style where he might actually make Bellew look good for a couple of rounds. You see, Bellew has always struggled with boxers. Guys like Adonis Stevenson. Even if you look at the David Haye fight, when David Haye was boxing with Bellew and not trying to go for the kill, David Haye was outboxing Tony Bellew quite convincingly. Like even in the rematch, even though it only went 3 rounds, the first 2 rounds were all David Haye rounds. Big. It was only when David Haye really stepped on the gas and the body just wasn't there was when he started having the issues with Bellew. So Bellew struggled with boxers as opposed to kind of guys like Ruiz who are just pressure fighters. Bellew, I can say he likes fighting pressure fighters, but Bellew can get on his bike. He's shown that he can get on his bike, he can move, he can be defensively sound, but he's never fought, as I said, a fully fledged heavyweight. It's going to outweigh him. who's going to be a lot stronger than him, who's going to hit a lot harder than him. You know, that David Haye, I don't even think was punching that hard because his legs and every part of him were so short he couldn't even get full extension onto his shots. So with Bellew saying that, you know, if we're talking about Bellew who was competing, would he beat Andy Ruiz? Probably not. If he's talking about now, would he be able to put it out on the line and risk it? He wouldn't risk it as far as I'm concerned, definitely not. But this is just kind of fighting war. Bellew is a bit like Carl Froch in that sense, that he will always talk about other fighters and say, oh, I beat that guy, and then, you know, at the end it's always like, would I risk it? Probably not. So, you know, my thoughts on that, if they'd ever fight, I'd be making Andy Ruiz firm favourite, pre-AJ or post-AJ. I'd still make Ruiz favourite, but I think Ruiz with his slow feet, because he is very slow footed, he does plod around the ring. If Bellew could get on his bike, oh, you could make it awkward in there for Andy Ruiz, definitely, because Bellew's going to be a lot quicker of feet. The hand speed would probably still be Ruiz's kind of category, because Ruiz's hands are very, very quick. He's a great front foot counter puncher. But Bellew, I think Bellew could mess Ruiz around for a couple of rounds. But I think the physicality, if Ruiz really got physical and tried to just lean on Bellew, yeah, that fight would be ending pretty quick after that then. So those are my thoughts on this. You know, a little bit of boxing news here. There's not a lot much more to go on. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know your thoughts down below. How do you think that would go? Even if Bellew was competing still, you know, when he fought Andy Ruiz, how do you think that would go? Let me know your thoughts down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, of course, if you are new. And as always, I will talk to you. So before I go, I just want to say thank you for dropping by the channel. I really do appreciate it. I mean, all the support, all the things that have happened on this channel over the last year have been incredible. If you're new to the channel, as you see on screen there's a couple of like older videos that I have. Some of them aren't really relevant now, to be fair, but some of them are, like my Fighters with a Problem series, stuff like that. If you like any of this, please subscribe, like the video you just watched, share it, do it, all you gotta do. Let's try and keep this channel going, because I love doing this and I love interacting with the fans, and I love hopefully the fans love watching my videos. So thank you for dropping by. I've been G-Man. I will talk to you.